what it mean to be the best. Riding foes, feeling unimpressed, make me reminisce. Throwing bows, been in the corner, set my mind up on the goal. All I know is stay down, bad, I'm the goal. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now ain't no debate. Yeah. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now ain't no debate. Yeah. I ain't gotta say much. Know the boy got a touch. Another win for the rush. Another win for the rush. See me once and got a crush. See you twice and that's enough. Get the ring sized up.
What's up? Welcome in. Tell the Truth, episode 77. We have a 2025 Chiefs schedule to talk about here today, in addition to some other news around the league as we get here into a little bit of a dead period for the NFL season. Obviously, rookie minicamps have come and went. We have some things maybe to talk about as far as what had happened up there. Really. It's right around the corner from Arrowhead Stadium. DG, CJ, how you guys doing, man?
Good, man. Glad to be back. Glad to have something to actually talk to y'all about. We had nothing to talk about. So it's all good, man. We're ready. Schedule is out, so you know where we'll be going and where we'll be. Hopefully, it ends with the big dream in Santa Clara.
I had to give y'all the week off last week. We ain't had nothing to talk about. I ain't gonna cap it.
Yeah, we have.
We would have been repeating ourselves. I was like, if y'all just want to see our faces, that's cool too.
Yeah.
But we ain't had shit.
Definitely would have been a boring episode.
We would have been just saying the same thing. But no, got a little stuff to talk about, a couple of injury updates, got some projections of some who's going to players in rotation. Like DMac said, schedule talk. We can talk about bye weeks, predictions, all that good stuff. Now we have some actual content to talk about. So this will be a more purposeful show for sure. So
yeah, absolutely. So we're going to start out with some news, kind of around
new
the
news.
NFL.
You can't say that. It's copyrighted.
It's copyrighted. Is it copyrighted?
You can't say that. At least not in that tone. You can't say it like that.
You can say it different too. DG, can you drop a beat so we can say new news and
give us a different beat? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so we can just say it. The NFL owners are going to be meeting this week. Apparently, today and Wednesday in Minnesota. Why in the world are they in Minnesota? But Minnesota's probably not awful this time of year. To vote on a few new rules that could be coming up and affecting obviously the Chiefs in the 2025 season. The first of which that is noteworthy would probably be the playoff format, dealing with some wild card teams that maybe have better records than the divisional winners. And ultimately, this is one that was proposed by the Detroit Lions. This is one that I think that could be overstepping a little bit. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Personally, that sometimes the division winners will have a lesser record. And I think it also kind of plays into it. Sometimes your division winner will have a lesser record while they're playing maybe a tougher division, playing in a tougher division than another team, or they're playing a tougher cross, conference matchup as far as the division rotations are concerned. So to me, this is one where it's a little bit overstepping, and I don't really think that it's necessary. You guys have any thoughts as far as this proposal from the Lions?
Yeah. They dragging it a little bit, bro.
Get rid of the division.
This is like for that Seattle year. Remember when they went 7-9 and won the division and had a home playoff game? This is for those type of situations. This doesn't apply to Detroit for me because they were both 13-win teams when they played that division game at the end of the season between Minnesota and Detroit. So this rule is not. This is a bad year to propose it. Seattle should have done that because who was the playoff team that year when they went 7? It was the Pete Carroll year.
The Saints went on the road and had to play them in March.
That would have been a better year.
The Beastquake.
That would have been a better year to propose it. Not this year, because you both were good football teams. So somebody had to be on the short end of the stick. Now, if we had teams like 2 or 3 years in a row winning 8 games or barely not getting over 500 and winning the division, then I would understand. But this doesn't make sense, the proposal, personally.
It's just so rare that it happens as far as a team under 500 from that standpoint. I just don't think that it's necessary as well. And I like the fact that the NFL really does place an emphasis on the division, winning the division from the standpoint of, that's the way for you to get a home playoff game. And keeping that emphasis on there compared to some of the other sports and the way that their postseason formats kind of currently are. Exactly. I personally prefer it from that standpoint. DG, what were you saying though?
I think it's one simple fix, bro. Just get rid of the divisions. Just go conference, and conference, AFC, NFC. Like the top 7 teams
make it basketball.
Make the playoffs. Like
I don't want it to be basketball. I hate the way basketball does it because it's not. There's no emphasis on the divisional rivalry about it. Like nobody cares. Nobody cares that the divisions in basketball exist. I hate the way basketball.
DG, we wouldn't be able to make fun of the Raiders anymore. We don't beat them in the
games.
Don't matter.
I get it, but at the same time, like if you're gonna go this route, then just make it to where you have 2 conferences, 7 teams make the playoffs, and the top 7 records are the ones that they get the seeding. Like, the best record gets the top seed, the next best record gets the second seed. Plain and simple. Or like realistically, you know what, bro? Like the NFL should have never just messed with the playoff round anyway. You should have kept it 6 teams.
Well, that was always going to happen because of that money, man.
I understand that.
Adding a team and changing the format is different. I don't mind adding a team.
I didn't mind adding the team because, in my opinion, and I understand why people may disagree with this. In my opinion, I didn't mind adding the team because I didn't mind the fact that the 1 seed meant everything then. That it wasn't the top 2 seeds got a bye. That 1 seed having that bye is that type of thing that you are achieving. Then I think that actually is a worthwhile advantage, and that was a nice byproduct of adding the team. But obviously, that was only done for the All-Star, or not the All-Star, but strictly for money purposes, and that's fine.
Because you're adding 17 games, 18 games, so that makes sense. This doesn't make sense for me. Yeah,
there's one practical reason and one selfish reason. Selfishly, I just don't want the NFL to look more like the NBA. From that standpoint, I like the way the division's set up.
Keep
I like
your uniqueness for sure.
I want to keep it as far as that's concerned. And then the practical aspect of it, places like the NBA can do that because it's an 82-game regular season, and there's more flexibility to make sure you can standardize who everybody is playing from that standpoint. The way in which obviously the schedule is for the NFL is based on those divisions first and foremost, because those are the emphasis on your games, and then that's the way the entire schedule gets built out. And there's less of an ability to standardize what everybody is playing to make it across the conference from that standpoint. So that's another piece of it, but we'll see ultimately if that one ends up passing. Moving on, as far as the next issue up on will be the tush push. So the Green Bay Packers have adjusted the language from the GM meetings that happened a little bit earlier. They have changed the proposal specifically to offensive players pushing immediately after the snap, and that being the thing that be banned. And so now it's more clear. Some people have said that the Packers are the ones that were told to propose this because it doesn't look like one owner, because obviously the Packers are, majority owned by the entire place, or publicly owned, I should say, is pushing this. So they are saying that, hey, this is the specific rule that we want to prevent from happening. Will they get those 24 votes needed to get done? We will see. There were reports that it was a little bit split. I know we had talked about this obviously earlier, but in you guys' opinion, where do you stand as far as the revised rule being very specific to the tush push, and if you think that they should pass it?
I knew this was coming. Should they do it? I was kind of indifferent. I don't care if they keep it or don't keep it. The Eagles have lost with using the tush push. They won with using the tush push. So, I mean, it's not an illegal rule. Like, they've been doing it for a while. Like, teams, it's kind of, when we first talked about this months ago, it's funny because in college they took you away from doing this rule, because obviously the Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart year with the Bush push basically was the first time we saw this. And then eventually they told us you can't do this. The part of it, they're kind of like finagling the words to say, hey, no one can push anyone. So if a running back is near the goal line, you can't push Kareem Hunt in the end zone. They're just a way to make it more fair for everyone. But overall, I don't think the rule, I don't care if they keep it or don't keep it. It don't matter for me. But I understand why they're doing it, because teams are just mainly in the NFC. I get why the Packers do it, because they got their teeth kicked in. I mean, the tush push wasn't the reason you lost. You had a lot of other reasons. But I get why they're asking for it, because they just don't want to have to deal with it anymore. But overall, the Eagles, I mean, from their perspective, they're not going to like it, because they're like, well, we've been beating y'all with a rule that you can do this too. You just choose not to. And I've always laughed because I've always said, for the Eagles fans that are against it, I understand it because it's your team and it's a rule you've been very good at and the thing you've been good at exploiting. But you don't have to do that to be effective because you're the Eagles. I can understand you can be mad as a fan. Oh, we don't get to do it anymore. But if I'm a player, like if I'm Jalen Hurts, I don't care. I can still get first downs. I'm the strongest quarterback in the league. I don't need a grown man to push me to get a yard. It helps a lot for sure. But if I'm the Eagles and I have the O-line we have Saquon Barkley and I have Jalen Hurts, getting a yard with someone pushing you shouldn't matter for a quarterback of your standard. So that's just me personally, but keep it or don't keep it, it don't matter to me. I'm indifferent on it for sure.
DG?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm indifferent. I don't really care. I don't really think it gives a massive advantage or anything like that. I hear some people complain about it all the time, and I just tell people, just get lower than them. Try to stop it. I don't know what to tell you.
Don't
but
let them get the 4th or 3rd and 1.
Yeah, don't let them get to those downs.
They don't do it on the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I just think at this point, what I was really glad about is it was the Packers. and not the Chiefs.
Well, if it was us, it would have got denied. It wouldn't have got approved.
Yeah,
we would have said, they would have been like, nope.
And I go ahead, DJ. I'll let you finish.
No, I'm just glad. Like I said, I'm just glad it wasn't us. I'm glad, but I would like for all the NFL reporters to stop using our picture in the Super Bowl. For like,
damn, use somebody else, bro. Damn.
Yeah, use somebody else for a change, or
especially since they didn't need it outside of that one play.
Yeah, right.
Use the Packers. Like, they the ones keep saying.
Yeah, use like the Packers. They didn't have no shots of them doing against the Packers.
Use Luvu jumping over, especially since he said to ban it. Like, use any of those.
Use them.
Yeah, that kind of pissed me off. I was like, can we just use a different picture at this point? Because we didn't propose this rule change, so. Anytime we propose rule changes, they get denied.
Like, so. Nope, we ain't changing just y'all. Y'all win too much anyway.
My thing is, I just so I'll take a little bit of a stronger stance from the standpoint of I'm not in favor of them passing this specific rule because I would prefer if they made it broader, especially if they're going to say player safety. It just make it so that offensive players can't push offensive players, and so that way it's a standardized thing. Obviously, that would affect more so like offensive linemen coming in behind running backs and trying to push the pile, et cetera, et cetera. And that's fine. I understand it. But offensive players aren't supposed to be able to pull offensive players forward. Defensive players can't push behind other defensive players. I think that if you made that standardized, then I could understand the logistical argument for it. The way that it is currently, being trying to pass here, it's just about whining about the Eagles being really good at the play. And personally, I don't like that as the logic to ban a play. I just personally don't. I'm against that in competition in sports. So that's my view on it. And obviously the Chiefs are a team that we faced a whole bunch of tush pushes in the Eagles Super Bowl, and we beat them. And then we didn't face multiple tush pushes in this Super Bowl, and they beat us. So ultimately, either way it can go. There are ways to beat the team, even though that they can do this. It's just about, it's not unbeatable. That's really what it comes down to. So to me, it feels like a little whiny to make it specifically about this play. Of course, we'll see if it ends up passing as well in that standpoint. The onside kick being tweaked, they want to change it. I thought that it was kind of dumb, the fact that they wanted to have it declared and only in the fourth quarter. And
that's the dumbest thing
amount of times that they could use it. They want to amend it so that they can declare it, but they'd say it doesn't matter what the point total is, and as long as it's trailing, and it doesn't matter what time of the actual game is. To me, it was dumb that they had those restrictive rules on it. You should be able to declare an onside kick wherever you want to, in my personal opinion. And obviously, we'll see if that happens. And they also give the offensive team, or the kicking team, I should say, a 1 yard advantage than they had previously, moving it to the 34-yard line, then 35-yard line, which we'll see if that changes the rates any, because basically it was a non-factor as far as that was concerned. I still personally am in support of having a 4th and 25, 4th and 20, whatever, chance to try and substitute as far as the onside kick rule that they currently have, if they're going to keep the current kickoff rules, which it appears that they're committed to from that standpoint. Anything as far as that's concerned for you guys?
Nope.
No.
Yeah.
Whole rule is stupid.
Yeah. 2028 Olympics, that was unanimously passed today, allowing NFL players to participate. I have two questions for you guys. One, do you want to see any of the Chiefs go out there? And two, if you do, who would you want to see and where did you want to see them play?
Absolutely freaking not. Nobody. What are we doing? We're trying to win a Super Bowl. I don't give a fuck about no gold medal. Now, if I'm a non-playoff team, yes, like the Raiders, all you want. Jaguars, have your fun. Bengals, this is for you. Us, none of y'all should be caring about a freaking gold medal. I don't care. I'm not missing training camp or mental reps because you want to go run around with no pads on. How about you run around during spring practice, during the mini camps, and learning that playbook? This is not for us. This is for I said it this morning. This is for non-playoff teams. If I'm not winning a Super Bowl, Travis Hunter, this is all you, buddy. You can do this all you want. Noah Williams, Brashard Smith, all y'all, Rasheed, Zay, none of y'all. No, none of this. No, stay home.
GG.
I think it's absolutely disgusting that you're going to allow NFL professionals
to embarrass these people.
Embarrass people from around the world. I'm just imagining somebody trying to guard Tyreek Hill. I don't know if y'all seen that video of him going over to France and like facing some of the guys that played over, I guess, in the France league over there, and it wasn't good.
Looked like fifth graders.
Yeah. Like just imagining that. I think this is just a absolute disadvantage for the rest of the world, and praying good luck. But I already kind of figured 2028 when this rolls around, Patrick Mahomes is going to be in the Olympics. I'm already assuming that's going to happen. Whether how much he plays or whatever, I already going to assume that he's probably going to be an ambassador for this as the face of the league or whatever, to kind of push the international narrative that the NFL has been trying to do. They already been trying to move into international markets with, games being outside of the United States at this point. So I would assume that Mahomes would probably be heavily involved in this. I don't know how many other players will be, how many other star players will be, but I would assume that, a lot of the good skill position guys in this league would probably be involved in this to some capacity. Maybe not play as much, but still think they'll be on the team.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. It's so funny because obviously like this is like just 20, no, I know 2028. I'm trying to think. 26 years ago, I think technically. 26 years ago, obviously with the 92 Dream Team, and people were having some of the same things like, oh, you're going to put the NBA professionals at risk, even though they're trying to compete for titles. And obviously it's a little bit different given the timing of the NBA offseason compared to the timing of the NFL offseason and when the Olympics do occur. And obviously, they talk about, it being completely unbalanced if you have NFL players playing against, flag football players from other countries. But the roster size of an Olympic football team is supposed to be 10 people, and it's supposed to be 5, on a field at a time. So there was a question asked about a dream NFL flag football team by Ari Menoff. So this is the one that I put together. I because there is a running aspect to it, I don't think that Mahomes is going to be the quarterback again. This is if they actually do choose to make NFL players the flag football people, which I'll be honest with you, I think they will just off the strength. They'll have like at least 3 guys probably on the roster that NFL people just because they want it to be a big thing. And that's the NFL's prerogative too from that standpoint. So, but this was the squad that I put together. If you guys have any criticisms as far as this is concerned, and yes, I did.
Criticism? Can you imagine Team Brazil trying to guard Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, and Jameer Gibbs?
They're going to embarrass themselves.
Get embarrassed.
It's going to be 10 touchdowns to
a massacre.
0. They ain't never scoring. And it's a 50-yard field. They ain't going to cross the 10-yard
line. That is nuts. You got massive disadvantage.
You got Micah Parsons trying to run down your quarterback. You ain't never going to throw the ball. Every time he drop back, he going to throw the ball away. Every time.
But yes,
PS2 ain't letting nobody catch a pass. Like, ain't nobody gonna catch the ball on me. It wouldn't even be fun. That's why they shouldn't go. I'm like, bro, this isn't even. I traveled all the way out here to embarrass some JV level players, bro. This is like DMac said. If you're gonna add some players, give like some bottom tier NFL guys. So give me like, I'm trying to think, who's another athletic quarterback that's not Anthony Richardson? All you, buddy. Go ahead, go crazy. This is for you. Snoop Huntley. This is all you, buddy. This is you. I'm trying to think of some other guys that are top.
Gardner Minshew. This would be a great game for him.
You hate Gardner Minshew, dog.
I'm trying to think who else is who's like a.
We're gonna have a Gardner Minshew counter for DG throughout the entirety of this season.
Miko Hardman. This is all you, buddy. This is Miko. Miko, you can go for sure. Go out there and get a gold medal. This is for those type of guys. But these guys would never go. Why would I do this?
It's going to be very interesting because this is something that the NFL has pushed very heavily as far as wanting to have a flag football presence, because it also opens up aspects of different fan bases, or I should say new fan bases, to the game. And so it was one of those things, obviously, with the Dream Team where everybody was like, well, is MJ going? And then MJ said he was going, so everybody else decided to go. And so how they decide to build out this team and who gets to build out this team is going to be fascinating. The one thing I will say, obviously, you gave the Chiefs perspective and team perspective. If you have a chance to be an Olympic athlete and call yourself an Olympic athlete and have a gold medal, I understand why you would take it. So I get why there will be an allure for people to possibly sign up and decide to do this. So we'll see what ends up happening, obviously, in 2 years, or I guess maybe it'll be a year when the actual roster is announced. So moving on, we obviously went through some of the NFL rule stuff that is coming down the pipe. I will talk about as well some NFL news that came through, because I think it's a little bit interesting for us to go through. The first of which was, there we go, Joe Thuney. Obviously, an old friend alert. Kansas City Chiefs traded Joe Thuney for a 4th-round pick this offseason. That was used in a trade up to go and get Noah Williams at pick 85 in this year's draft. And so the Bears have given Joe Thuney a new contract extension, 2 years, $17.5 million per year, $33.5 million fully guaranteed as well, on top of what his current contract was. This was probably a piece of it that he wanted a little extra security moving forward, and it felt like maybe the Chiefs weren't willing to do so. And obviously the Bears are a team that have the cap space to do so. I think that he'll be a good piece for them. How do you guys feel about the Joe Thuney extension as far as that's concerned?
No, happy for him, man. Happy that he got his payday. Definitely well deserved. I appreciate everything Thuney brought to our organization, especially coming over from New England, playing multiple positions. He was a constant pro, never complained, never really heard anything from him ever. So, man, he deserves it, man. It's just unfortunate that, it kind of got to a point for us where we really just couldn't. I think it's more the age thing. I don't think it's that we couldn't afford it. I just think when you start to get up to a certain age, it gets to a point where it may be just time to move on from a certain player. And I just think that's where the Chiefs just kind of got with all of this or whatever. Definitely would have still loved to have him here, but, I think he'll go to Chicago and be able to help a young up-and-coming team get better and kind of, mend some bridges there for them until they find, the next available guy to step in and take that role from him. But, they obviously needed veterans more than we did at this point. So they're getting the all-pro, man. He's one of the best guards in the league. So hopefully he can help protect Caleb Williams and keep him off the ground. But yeah, definitely well deserved, and happy for him.
Yeah, absolutely. So it'll it's I think he's
all
going
pro
to help
Joe, baby.
Yes, all pro Joe. I think he's going to help Caleb Williams significantly. He's somebody that obviously has a high level of technical ability to his game. So I think as long as he's healthy, he's going to continue to be one of the best guards in the National Football League. And shout out to him for getting that security as well. The other thing that I wanted to bring up, and it'll roll into some Chiefs related, kind of conversation in that standpoint, Mr. Brock Purdy got paid. Brock Purdy with a brand new contract, well over $50 million a year, ultimately. And shout out to him. The 49ers obviously found him in the 7th round of the draft. It kind of saved them, obviously, coming off the heels of the Trey Lance trade and the Jimmy G contract. Ultimately, he was able to provide them value, getting them to the Super Bowl, obviously, versus us, even though that they ended up losing. And I thought that he showed to be okay, and some improvements last year as far as that's concerned, and what was a difficult year from an injury standpoint. So shout out to Brock Purdy getting his new contract, as they also extended Fred Warner. Was that today? Maybe it was yesterday.
Yes.
It was about the same timeline.
Yeah.
George Kittle like last week, and then Fred now.
Yeah. So I did want to show kind of a few things, or really just two things, as it pertains to Patrick Mahomes and his standing as far as some of the contract values that have been handed out. And obviously, he stands about 5th as far as percentage of the salary cap from that initial 2020 extension that was handed out. Brock Purdy all the way down there at 14th. Right in front of Kirk Cousins and behind Josh Allen. So it tells you a little bit about how the cap has continued to rise, but even though we gave him a market kind of resetting deal even at the time, and obviously Joe Burrow leads off that deal. DG, you're making a face. Why are you making a face?
Oh, there's just a team at the top, that decided to pay their quarterback and now can't pay one of their edge rushers because of it.
Well, two of their edge rushers.
Pretty interesting. Yeah, there's 2 of their edge rushers. One they just drafted.
DG on y'all ass.
And they told me they could keep everybody.
DG keeps receipts. Y'all better stop being petty with him. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's what they said. They said they could keep everybody. Everybody was gonna stick around. It's gonna be all good.
It doesn't appear that may be a little bit of a tougher barrier than they had initially thought from that standpoint. So,
boy, oh boy.
So obviously that
Brokey. Clock it.
Hey, Joe, so much. Y'all can keep going because I'm still looking for this other tree. So y'all can keep going if y'all want to keep.
Nah, man. Shout out to Brock Purdy.
Glock Purdy.
I initially, when I've seen the contract, I was like, God, they gonna give him that type of money. But I mean, at this point in time, like,
you kind of stuck with him now. Like,
you've been doing the quarterback. You don't really have a choice, dog. Like,
you want to go back to
you need a quarterback.
Exactly. You want to go try again. Like, this offense is not amazing. I'm not saying like Brock Purdy's all world. He's a fringe top 12 back into the top 10 quarterback. So he's worthy of getting paid for sure. Now, is he worth $50 million? Most people would say no. The other half would say yes. So did they have to pay him? I'm agreeing with that. The money probably could have been a little different. But like DMac said, when he take you to the Super Bowl, you've been in constant NFC Championship games, he's earned the money. They feel he can do the similar production, even without the all-star cast of weapons he had with Debo at his full peak and Brandon Ayuk healthy and George Kittle and a healthy CMC. Now we're going to see where Brock Purdy is really made of with a full offseason, chance to retool the roster. Hopefully CMC can be on the field, who's the most important in our offense to me, most important player. And obviously Brandon Ayuk, unfortunately, is dealing with a knee recovery from knee injury. George Kittle got his money, so hopefully he'll be healthy and ready to roll. But we're going to truly see what Kyle Shanahan can do. I get what you do because, like D-Mac said before this, it was Trey Lance. That was a miss, and you gave up 2 ones for that. That was disgusting. Before that, you were doing Jimmy G. We know he was limited. And even when Jimmy G was dealing with injuries, you had guys like Nick Mullins, C.J. Beathard. It's been a whole rotation of quarterbacks. So you finally found a guy, you had to pay him. So it's kind of stuck between a right and a hard play. Because if you moved on from Purdy, what was the next plan? Find another 6th-round quarterback? Stick with the one you got now and just pray you can fill more weapons around him. So Ricky Pearsall, you got a lot of pressure on you, buddy, because you're going to be the guy now. So, because I don't expect, knock on wood, I don't want this to happen, but George Kittle ain't going to stay healthy. He hasn't been doing his whole career. So I don't expect, he deserves his money because he's an all-pro tight end. He's one of the best in the league, but he can't stay on the field either. So I don't really know what they're expecting. So these young guys are going to have to make plays for them. So that's going to be the one they're depending on. So.
For the people who question it, I would just tell them, like, you're moving into a part of the league now that you got to pay premium dollar for a premium position. And quarterback is obviously the most important position on the field now. So, you didn't have really had no other choice. Like, it's either pay Brock Purdy or go fishing and try to find another quarterback.
You saw this
in
quarterback
the
class?
draft, yeah, in this draft class or in the next one, or suffer for the next couple years. So I shout out to the Niners for getting something done. I do believe that Purdy can at least be a bridge, if so to be, if they need to get to the next
For 5
guy
years
of the future or whatever. But I don't know if I would have made the decision to pay him that much.
It is what it is, man.
But it is what it is, man. So
you had a window to win a championship to make it make sense. You didn't capitalize on it, i.e., because of us twice, which kind of sucks. But hey, you put yourself. I mean, it sucks you win the ultimate goal, but from their perspective, there are other teams in their division, except the Rams, that can't even get to that point. So there are teams that are just begging to win 10 games a year. The Niners, even with the carousel of quarterbacks, have always been a 10-win football team when healthy, have always been a playoff team. And for the majority of their time during Kyle Shanahan's tenure, they've been an NFC conference championship team, if not a Super Bowl team. So I get the point of how they built their roster. Moving forward, we're going to see what Kyle Shanahan, and mainly with John Lynch, more importantly, what you're really going to surround Brock Purdy with. Because we all know he's a good quarterback. He's a starting quarterback. He's a top 12 guy in the league to me. Is he good enough to elevate the weapon they have now? If CMC isn't healthy, no. Because like I said, he's the most important person on that roster, in my opinion. If he's not there, everything changes. So you have to surround Brock Purdy with weapons that are going to give him a legit shot to move the ball down the field, because he can only do so much. He has a higher ceiling than Jimmy Garoppolo, but it's not that much higher. That's all I'm saying. So.
I don't say it's that much higher, but I will say I think the 49ers paid him right around where he is ranking in the league as far as a top 15 type of guy, and ultimately that's where he's landing in percentage of average annual value of the salary cap. So I don't have any issues with what they decide to do. Now you just have to build the team, and to your point, CJ, they've been able to consistently be a good front office, obviously a well-coached team, and be a deep playoff run team for the other moves that they can make. And I like what they did in the draft from the defensive line perspective. So I think things will end up working out from that standpoint. It's just, it's a little bit more difficult when you do have the quarterback making that level of money. So the other things I wanted to bring up, because obviously we do sit here with a little bit of a different standpoint. Hold on. Let me make sure I get to this. Where is it? Almost gonna hold on. Give me 1 second. There we go. All right, that's what I'm looking for. So we do sit here with two guys in the immediate, I'll say, that still looking for contract extensions as far as the Chiefs are concerned. Guy at the top of this list currently on the $23 million franchise tag, Trey Smith. Obviously, we heard that was going to be the next priority coming out of the draft. It appears that is still the priority, but we have not heard anything as well. We are creeping towards the July 15th deadline for them to get a long-term extension deal done. We expect this to be a market resetting deal for Trey Smith as well. So I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I think that we've kind of accepted that that's where this money is going to land, and that's fine as far as that's concerned, DG and CJ.
Yeah, I honestly thought that they would probably have this done a little bit sooner than expected, but it looks like this is probably going to be something that maybe gets done OTA-ish, training camp-ish, I'm assuming now.
That little break between minicamp and training camp,
Yeah, I would have liked them to be able to already had this done, because I want them to be able to get Trent's deal done too, as well in this offseason. But one thing at a time. Trey obviously is a young ascending player, and like I've been telling people for a while now, you pay for youth. You have to pay premium dollar for it. I think he's ascending to a point where I think he can be a guy that's an all-pro guard in this league. I think he's definitely one of the better younger guards in this league at this point. So it's going to be, to me, in my opinion, it's well deserved. And anything at this point to protect 15 and keep him upright, especially for the future as we go on. Hopefully it gets done soon. But I don't mind them trying to, at least having that security of the tag to be able to be the only team right now to speak with him.
Yeah, understandably.
Money's well deserved. I think we kind of knew the deal was going to be done after the draft, so I'm not really surprised by the timing. The deadline for me, I would like to see this done by training camp because I think, as we all know, like out of all the positional groups, the O-line is the biggest question mark for the team right now. So I don't want to have Trey Smith missing any reps in camp just to get that cohesion with everyone. Even though we know the right side of the line is solidified where he's at, I just want to get as much reps as the whole five together as possible, and that's mainly for guys like Kingsley at left guard, Jalen Moore at left tackle, Josh Simmons if he decides to practice in training camp to get his reps as well. I want all those guys to get as much time together as possible because we all know cohesion and chemistry is very important with the old line group. They spend as much time together as anyone because you're a unit of 5 or 6 or 7 of you that play all of your snaps together. So I would like to see that done. And I kind of feeling it was going to be an after draft thing just based off the market. And Veach even said it, hey, we're probably going to do this later on. So they could have had it wrapped up before, but like DG always says, it takes 2 sides to make a deal. So maybe they said, hey, let's table it and we'll talk after the draft, which we all know we want to get the deal done. So it's not always about what the one side wants. The other side has to have the same timeline as well. So money-wise, I think he's kind of, like DMac said, he's going to reset the market. So this is the right market for him. So 20 M's and up, he's just as good in this Quinn Nelson, Chris Lindstrom, Landon Dixon area market. So he's definitely a top 4 guard on this list. I wouldn't put him no lower than 4 in my opinion. So if he's going to reset the market, this is the kind of price range he's going to be in. So no, it all makes sense. Now it's just about, like you said, cap hit, and can we make the cap hit lesser this year than it will be next year, years to come. But overall, no, the 20 M's and up makes sense.
What's the actual deadline for them to have it?
July 15th. July 15th is the deadline. And so the way the Chiefs offices and programs are set out, they'll have another OTA starting at the end of May, another one at the beginning of June, and then one mid-June. And then mandatory minicamp will be June 17th through 19th. And so I would say that in the way that it probably lines up is that, hey, if we don't have a deal with Trey Smith a month before that July 15th deadline during one of those voluntary OTAs or that mandatory minicamp ending on June 19th, that's when I would start to probably get worried as far as that's concerned. And obviously, this is a situation being on the franchise tag where if it doesn't get done by July 15th, then either he's playing the year on the franchise tag or nothing else can be done about it. So it's just one of those situations. Hopefully, I don't expect it to bleed into training camp, even if the deal doesn't get done, because he doesn't really have much of a choice ultimately. But we'll see what ends up happening from that perspective. The other one, obviously, pertains to somebody the Chiefs have more recently drafted, Mr. Trent McDuffie. And obviously, you won't find him at the top of this list. However, you will find some other of his draft class, other signees. It's Derek Stingley Jr. He got a $30 million average annual value. It's a little bit trumped up based on the way that they ended up structuring that deal. Obviously, other young cornerbacks like J.C. Horn, Patrick Surtain II also appearing on this list. I'm trying to. We can also look at this maybe by a percent of AAV of the cap just to see it from this perspective too. And again, Derek Stingley Jr. just throw this off maybe a little bit too. But where would you guys kind of like to see that Trey McDuffie, kind of contract land? It feels like this is a situation where, based on his track record, based on what he's accomplished, and obviously how important he is, I wouldn't be surprised to see him ultimately land at the top of this list with a structure that will make it similar to Derek Stingley Jr.'s, where really it's not a true $30 million a year, but it's more palatable from that standpoint. But how do you guys feel about the prospects of Trey McDuffie getting extended?
Put him above him. All of them. I'm no, like,
two-time All-Pro.
Yeah. As much as Patrick Surtain is probably the only one that I could see a massive argument of him being, maybe the highest paid, just winning Defensive Player of the Year last year. I know Texas fans are gonna probably kill me for this. I think he's better than Derek Stingley Jr. There's no disrespect to Derek Stingley. I think his contract was well deserved, but at the same time, I think Trent has done just as much and made just as much impact on this team for him to deserve a contract that is the highest paid to me in the league. So that's what I said. This is what happens. You pay premium dollar for premium youth for prime years, and this is what it costs. So this is where we're at in the league, and sometimes you just got to cough up the money.
Mm-hmm. Top 3 corner in the league for me. He's been that way for a while. if it ain't Stingley or PS2, I'm not really entertaining a conversation with any of these other guys respectfully. So it's rightfully earned. He's been all pro with and without Snead, so you can't use that without him or that leverage against him. He played inside. He's been an all pro corner. He's played outside, been an all pro corner. So he's one of the most versatile corners in the league, if not the most. Honestly, the only guy that I think that has his similar type of versatility would probably be a guy like Christian Gonzalez for me, which I unfortunately been going through knee injury, so that's going to hurt his stock. But overall, versatility of corner, like DG said, I don't think there's a more versatile corner than Trent McDuffie, in my personal opinion. So the money is well deserved. If he gets Stingley market money or if they go above it, all of it's warranted. So obviously, I want to make the cap hit fit to what we do to make it make sense for the roster so we can still add guys and extend other guys for the future, like George and other players. But whatever he gets will be well deserved because I think he's a top 2, top 3 corner in the league, no question.
Yeah, I think that if you want to reset the market for him in a similar way in which Derek Stingley's extension was structured, I think that's cool in my personal book. I think that Trent McDuffie is the most versatile cornerback in the National Football League. I think Patrick Surtain II is the best cornerback in the National Football League, but he is the only one that I would definitively take over Trent McDuffie and what he brings to the table from that perspective. And truthfully, when you talk about what Steve Spagnuolo asked him to do in the defense, he is, the perfect corner from that standpoint. He can give you, really good man coverage value. He can give you really good zone coverage value. Obviously, what he can do with the nickel and the way which he plays the run is really unique. And so there's not one corner in the National Football League other than Patrick that I would take over Trent McDuffie. And yeah, so I'm certainly happy to pay him accordingly from that standpoint too and reset the market for him. So the last guy that I'll mention, obviously George Karlaftis is also up for a contract extension. I don't think that's really going to end up being on the table, but as we kind of look at the linebacker aspect of this, and obviously we've already extended one linebacker this offseason with Nick Bolton's contract. I'm interested to see, and again, I'm just going to kind of go down this list for you guys. When, based on what you've seen so far from Leo Chenal, does it begin to be palatable to possibly, extend him as far as that money is concerned? And where would you want to give it? Obviously, Leo has been very unique for the Sam linebacker deployments that we've been able to use for him in Steve Spagnuolo's defense. And he brings a certain level of value, especially being able to get after the pass or defend the run really well from that standpoint. Where do you guys stand as far as the Leo Chenal's market, and where would you try to extend him as far as the money is concerned?
Scroll up a little bit. Yeah.
Joe, keep going. He's around that Patrick Queen.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think I'd put him too much higher on this list right now. I think he's.
Well, I'm just saying. So you'd be willing to give him $13 million a year?
I'm saying that'd be his value for me. If there's a way I can get a cheaper point, obviously, but
yeah. So that's the thing. If we're doing it ahead of time, where would you try and start the negotiations to
like lowest number? Oh yeah, around that right
8, 9, somewhere in there.
This little Will Anderson mark, Trayvon Walker. Like if I can get it between 8 and 10, that'd be an amazing value for him. If I can get that for sure, because he's better than now we're starting to dip down the guys he's way better than. So
yeah, this wouldn't be a situation where I'm massively trying to overpay him or anything. I love Leo, but I do believe that there's a chance that you could probably go in these next couple of drafts and find somebody to replace him. To a certain extent, but if you're willing to pay him, I do think that you can get him at a reasonable price right now, just based off of the production that you've gotten from him. But I don't think he's going to command $13 million a week. That's a lot. It's a lot of money for him,
especially for a guy that he doesn't play every down either. Like he comes he plays a lot of snaps for, but he's not an every down backer. So
you're already paying Nick Bolton $15 million too.
Exactly. I don't mind paying Leo. I would love for him to stay, but double digit money is like for a guy that's not an every down starter for, he's gonna be tough. So, like DG said, he's not to disrespect him. He's a great player. He does great things for us, but is he replaceable? Respectfully, yes. So these are the conversations that you have within the building. Fans may not like it, but these are honest conversations you have to have. Do we want to keep Leo on the roster? Yes, but if something like DMac, I'm not pressing to sign him. But there's an opportunity to get it done for a reasonable number, then yeah, you do it. But I want to make it make sense. So we don't know the number they're thinking. We're just having conversations right now. So
Yeah, and obviously, this is one of the things I wanted to bring up because we didn't expect to see a Noah Gray extension. We thought that Creed Humphrey obviously was going to be a prime candidate to be extended coming into last year's training camp, and obviously he was. But then we also got the Noah Gray news, and he signed a 3 years, $18 million deal, $6 million a year to stay here in Kansas City. And I thought that was a really shrewd move to get him under contract as well. That made sense, and he's continued to improve. So if you can start out a $5, $6, $7 million a year extension for Leo Chanel, I think that's representative value and worth trying to do. And if it doesn't get done, then maybe you play it out, go into free agency, let him see where his market is, and either bring him back or try and replace him in the draft. So I definitely agree with you guys as far as where you're thinking along those lines too. The last bit of Chiefs news before we get into the schedule, there was a report coming out of rookie minicamp that Adam Teicher went on Sports Radio 810 and said that Josh Simmons, if healthy, and the ability for him to be healthy throughout the entirety of training camp, train, be in position to, will be giving a real shot at being the number one starter at left tackle. Obviously, this is maybe a little bit of a question mark coming off of the draft process and his meniscus recovery and what that may looking like. Again, the Chiefs were comfortable with it, according to all reports after that. Sounds like a lot of other teams were also comfortable with it. There were some question marks outside of the actual knee recovery that teams had as far as some maturity question marks and some run blocking ability from that standpoint. Ultimately speaking, Adam Teicher made it seem as if health wasn't going to be a barrier, then Josh Simmons was going to be given every chance to win the starting left tackle job. I will ask you, A, does this surprise you guys in any way? And then B, how would you feel about them doing the rookie left tackle thing for a second year in a row?
It sound good.
It doesn't surprise me.
Not at all.
I mean, this is what you drafted him for, was for the future for him to start. So I just hope that he would be ready, and I hope that they're right about their medicals of the knee and things of that, nature. But if they feel comfortable with him being out there on the field and starting under those circumstances, then, as a fan, can't do anything but trust their word on this. But yeah, I feel comfortable with it. If he feels like he's ready to go at this point, we'll see.
I would put a healthy wager over under. When does Josh Simmons become the starting left tackle? If the mark is, let's use week 3, so 2.5. What would y'all think? He starts before or after week 3 or week 2? Because that's the benchmark for me being the Philly game.
If he's fully healthy,
that's the best D line we're going to see. So,
well,
fully healthy, I think if he's fully healthy, they're starting.
I think if that's the thing. It's really what it comes down to. If he's fully healthy and he can go through training camp, then I think that they're going to start him from week 1. But obviously, if he's not, then they're not going to do it. I don't think that they're going to push it. I think they're going to be fine with Jalen Moore. So
I don't think they're going out there.
I couldn't bet on it because I would have to see. I'd have to see what it is.
I mean, if we get through training camp, I don't think he starts week 1 personally. Mm-hmm. I'll be glad to be wrong, but there's no need to start in week 1. There's really no need at all. I would rather him go through training camp, like you said, get as many reps as he can. Get it adjusted to the speed as possible. See a couple of NFL games. Obviously, you want to get as many reps as possible on the field. But I would rather him see the NFL speed first before I just throw him out there week 1 with no legit reps. Obviously, I think preseason will tell us everything we need to know, how many reps he's getting then to see if he's on full go. But I wouldn't throw him out there week 1. There's no need to. I think you can beat the Chargers week 1. The Philly game is the one for me. I'm not ready to throw John Simmons out there with his knee. Now, if they're feeling comfortable, if they back it, they say yes, then okay. But I would rather him after the Philly game, after the New York game, because those are probably 2 of the better
defenses. The Giants aren't an easy matchup either.
That's why I say 2.5. Like, when do you want to play him
on that field?
Exactly. I would rather wait till after those 2 games so we can get those 2 out the way. He gets adjusted to the speed. He watches some film. He can maybe learn some pointers from other guys. Like, all right, I see what they do, what they don't like to do. And then after that, our schedule is, hold up 1 second. Chargers, Philly. Then we have Baltimore and Jacksonville. So if I was picking a point for him to start, it would be the Jacksonville game. But then you can follow that with Detroit and then Vegas and then Washington. None of those teams have elite pass rushers outside of Max Crosby. They're going to fear you, to me. So that would be like the Jacksonville point would be the game, I think. If they were to start him, it would be a then point. But if Jalen Moore is playing good football, there's no rush in putting Josh Simmons out there, in my opinion. There's no need to, because you got Jalen Moore for good value for 2 years, and now you're giving Josh Simmons as much time as he can to prepare and heal. And then if anything does happen to Jalen Moore, knock on wood, you have the fail safe because you're like, okay, Josh Simmons' knee is healthy. So I'm not in a rush to start Josh, especially if Jalen Moore is playing good football. That's just my opinion on it. So.
Yeah, I understand it, CJ, and I get where you're coming from, and I will also agree with DG. That Giants field scares the bejesus out of me out of MetLife.
That's exactly. That's why I said 2.5. Like I would wait till after.
So, I completely understand it. There's a level of competition. Obviously, there's the Giants field aspect of it, but I do believe in a similar manner to when we went into last year and Kingsley was going to be the starter. And again, there's a big difference in Josh Simmons' ability on the field as a prospect of Kingsley's ability on the field as a prospect. There's a difference as far as polish, et cetera, et cetera. But if you're going to go with the left tackle that's a rookie, start him and leave him. Let him grow. Do not yank him because you can destroy his confidence. And I do think that they did that.
He out there for sure.
Just leave him and let it ride.
Absolutely.
And you can't do that for a second year in a row. That's not the way to go. So for me, the ideal circumstances is Josh Simmons is fully healthy, can go through training camp, rolls through, and they still start Jalen Moore to start out. And you allow Jalen Moore to start. And again, to CJ's point, if he's playing good football, leave him. Let it go. Just let it go. And Josh Simmons, he's there. If somebody gets hurt, then cool. You can kick,
2026.
You have to put Josh Simmons in left tackle. Or if it's not working with Jalen Moore down the line, then you can put Josh Simmons in there. I would not start with Josh Simmons if I didn't have to, because I don't think that that's the right way to go about it. And I think they hopefully will have learned that lesson from last year and what they ended up doing as far as running out left tackles. And the last thing I'll say in this, and I tweeted it out, if they have 3 healthy, good tackle options for 2 spots, I'm not going to be complaining. I don't care that they're paying Jalen Moore $15 million a year. It's not that big of a deal to me. It really does not matter that much to me. I don't care that Juwan Taylor's making the money that he's making. I really do not care. This is a position that they ran out of competent players at last year. So if they overcorrect and they have too many of those guys, I have no issues with it.
DMac, they don't care. They know what we went through last year. And this money ain't coming out of y'all pockets. So fans shouldn't care. They're paid. The contracts are there. So the money shouldn't matter now. They built the roster. Do we all agree the roster improved? Yes or no from last year? In most areas that we need improvement. Yes. So the money shouldn't matter at this point. Now it's about having depth, which we always know having depth is the most important thing, because before last year, we were generally one of the healthiest teams in the NFL. That's one of the bigger reasons why we have such a good run. Then the attrition started to happen. We lost some guys last year. So now you overcorrect that room. And like DMac said, now we have 3 guys that we can potentially rotate through different spots if need be. That's a good thing. So all the competition and I think people take like the defensive mindset into like an offensive player mindset when only one guy can play at left tackle. It isn't like DN or cornerback when multiple guys can get on the field. If one guy can play and you can save your jewel for a longer period, that's the better investment strategy. It's clear as day. And if Jalen's not ready and Josh can play, then do it. But I'm not rushing to get Josh Simmons on the football field. That's not smart, especially when you can get amazing value out of a 2-year deal with Jalen Moore and give Josh Simmons all the time in the world to get 150% healthy. So then there's no worry about his knee at all whenever we do decide to put him out there. And if that's the case, we get to the bye week, well, if they do decide to make the move from Jalen Moore, or he gets banged up and then Josh Simmons is ready to go. You feel me? You have that option to do so. So I don't think rushing Josh Simmons into week 1, like we said with Philly and New York, that's not the move at all, personally.
Yeah, I completely agree as far as that's concerned. And look, the reality situation is people are like, but you could have used the money elsewhere. I think,
But what room did they not answer? That's my thing. Like,
that's the thing. Like the one thing, the only thing that you could possibly pinpoint, in my personal opinion, would be, hey, do you feel like you've upgraded the pass rush enough? And obviously, they put a lot to this as far as the defensive line in the draft is concerned. Mm-hmm. But obviously, we talked about some of the Chase Young stuff. I didn't really need to give Chase Young $17 million a year, in my personal opinion. I don't think that was a massive thing that we missed out on. Josh Sweat, I think, will help the Cardinals, but the Cardinals are in a different place necessarily to give Josh Sweat $19 million a year. That's not where I wanted to go. And none of these other guys, I think, are really all that impactful when you talk about Dio or Malcolm Kuntz or DeMarcus Lawrence, Draymond Jones, etc., Joseph Asai or Larry Ojobi. And shout out to
None of those guys are popping up on this screen for me. So What are we talking about? Unless you're talking about a game-changing player, there's nobody that's – and I don't think there was any game-changing players in the market that we were necessarily interested in that were going to come in here and make anybody for the right value, of course. Anybody that we sign are usually value type of players. That's why DJ is so excited about Christian Fulton. It's a value, not a game-changing player.
But I would say even for any value, just say if you wanted to save money on Jalen Moore, which, again, I still am in support of them signing Jalen Moore because it allowed you to go into the draft and not have to take a tackle from that standpoint. And, again, having more tackles than running out of them is a better place to be. There's not a difference making pass rusher that I think we're missing out on. And
that's what I'm saying.
That's the only place that I would pinpoint on the roster that maybe you could have gone elsewhere. I don't think that guy exists on the market, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I'm fine with the outcome from that standpoint. So, I think that the Chiefs have done what they need to do to try and ensure that their tackle situation is in a better place. So, that being said, obviously we now have the schedule in front of us. We're not going to do like a full game by game, kind of schedule preview. We're going to talk a little bit more about the individual matchups for these teams as we go throughout the spring and the summer, and obviously as we get closer and closer to the season starting. What I did want to ask you guys was kind of initial thoughts, and obviously for those that may not have seen, you can go back and watch our schedule release show that we did with the Kingdom Cast crew. The Red Shirt Podcast, our guy Trey, and then obviously and had a little fun reacting to that. You guys can watch that on the Kingdom Cast channel now. But also, we also want to talk a little bit about the schedule here. For me personally, I like where the bye week landed. I always pay attention to that. It being smack dab in the middle of it is good. Be able to give you a nice little break also gives you a little bit of synergy as far as the first and second half of the season. From that standpoint, you get 8 games early, or you get 8 games early, or you get 9 games early. There we go, and 8 games after the bye week to reevaluate, do some self scouting. The fact that I don't really feel like it's it's maybe a little front loaded, so at least you can get some good tape versus some really good opponents to be able to evaluate yourself and self scout for that bye week. You're going to get a good look at Buffalo. You're going to get a good look at Baltimore for those matchups. You're going to get obviously the Super Bowl rematch, so you see what worked, what didn't work, so that you can look back at it as well. And obviously Detroit is another really good team in there too. The other thing is I like the fact that you're also going to get a look at your divisional opponents outside of Denver, because you played them right after the bye week, but you're going to get a look at the Chargers week 1, be able to do some self-scouting too. And ultimately throughout the schedule, I think that they break it up. There's no crazy stretches. We don't have a 3 games in 10-day stretch, fortunately. We have, some back-to-back good opponents. You could say that with the Chargers, Philly to start out, Washington, Buffalo as well. But really, there's nothing too crazy as far as the stretch is concerned. Obviously, the highlights will be that we will be playing in Dallas on Thanksgiving, in a spot in which the NFL is going to be looking to break that $50 million TV viewership barrier ultimately on Thanksgiving Day. And obviously, we will be playing on Christmas night in Arrowhead against the Denver Broncos. So what are you guys' kind of schedule takeaways after this dropped and have a little bit to sit with it?
I love it. From a fan's perspective, all the good games we have on schedule are at the crib. I love that. We got Philly, Detroit, Baltimore, DC in our division games. All the big games that I wanted to see, and the teams I want to see us play that are going to get the most views are all at the crib. And we have the bye week in the middle of the season. So I love our schedule. Everything I wanted to do, I like. And I like the fact our early weeks, like Friday and Thursday, we have the Thursday on Thanksgiving and Christmas, our holidays. So guys are going to already be prepared, and you're following those weeks with normal Sunday games. You get extra rest. And the Friday game to begin the season. Only thing I hate is the field. Pray that's good. Outside of that, I don't have no complaints, honestly.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love the fact that we're that team now that in the league obviously wants in those primetime slots to play in those games. As a kid growing up, you always wanted to see, your team be the main team in those spotlights or whatever. Love the fact that we get an opportunity to go showcase the world, a different part of the world, the game of football in Brazil, the first week of the season. Love being able to play on the holidays. I know a lot of people had a lot of Chiefs fans have a lot of PTSD about playing on Christmas and things of that nature. But yeah, man, like I love it, man. I love the fact I'm be able to get to spend time with my family and sit down and watch my favorite team play football on those days. Hopefully we get to ruin both of the opposing fan bases' holidays for those 2 days. But
you ain't man, we just one of them. That one for sure getting ruined.
Yeah, we're just the it team now, man. It feels great to be in that position, to have that opportunity at this point. I think you gotta, as a fan, you gotta embrace it. It just is what it is. I know a lot of people, a lot of the older Chiefs fan base would love to go back to just having regular noon games or whatever, but those days are long gone now.
Man, we won winning shit back then.
Yeah, you have the face of the league on your team, best quarterback in the league on your team now, so things are different now. So They're going to be playing in these primetime games under the lights, and just get used to it, bro. It means we're winning games, we're winning Super Bowls, and it is what it is. It's not going to be here forever. So enjoy it while you have it.
You ain't complaining about them Super Bowl hoodies in your closet.
No,
but I want to play at 12.
Not one bit. Yeah, it is fun to embrace that the Chiefs now are that preeminent team that everybody wants. I was reading The Athletic earlier today, and they had all their writers say, what is the marquee matchup on your schedule? And the Chiefs were on five different other teams, marquee matchups as far as that was concerned. Another team appeared twice for another team. So it's like, everybody wants to see the Chiefs, and I'm certainly not complaining about it. They're playing on Christmas and Thanksgiving. I just hope that they don't embarrass us like they did on Christmas a few years ago.
Why y'all bringing up
this happened? It's fine. I want it to be a little
lose one game on Christmas, boy. People lose their mind.
I just want it to be a little bit more like it was last year. That's all. That's just me personally. The other thing I will mention and also bring this up because it's a little bit of interesting context. In addition to obviously not having it 3 days. In a 3-game and 10-day stretch like we did last year, the Chiefs will be operating with a little bit of a rest advantage, net rest advantage, I'll say, throughout the entirety of their schedule. They'll have one team coming off of their bye week versus us, and then 3 other games of 1 day less rest than their opponents. One of those being the opener. Obviously, the Chargers and the Chiefs will be playing in Brazil, as DG stated. They'll be coming back to Kansas City to play the Eagles, who have opened 1 day earlier, so that'll be a rest advantage for them, which I will be honest, I don't necessarily love the fact that we have to adjust to the time zone and don't even get a rest advantage out of it, but it is what it is. The Chiefs will also have rest advantages for 2 other games, and then plus 3 days for 2 games, and then also plus 4 days. And I think those will be coming off of those holidays that we spoke about earlier as well. So Chiefs are in a pretty solid spot. I like the schedule. I think they put it in a good place. Last thing that I'll ask you guys really before we go ahead and get on out of here, just tell me, we answered this question about actually going to the games, but which game, are you most excited for right now?
Obviously for me it's Thanksgiving and Christmas. I'm really excited for Thanksgiving just because I have, like I said, I got a lot of family in Dallas. A lot of my mom's side of the family are Dallas Cowboy fans. So, and I tend to think that some of them might be up here for that or whatever instead of being down there. So hopefully someone will make the trip up here to spend Thanksgiving and the holidays with us, and I get to talk a little trash to them and ruin their holidays. I would say the main regular season game I'm probably excited for that I probably would go to would be Detroit. I'm really excited to see them come in here. I'm a big Jahmyr Gibbs fan myself, and I love his game. Love what he
locking
brings
him up that day, DG.
Hopefully he walks away from Arrowhead with an L that night. But definitely would love to go see him play live in front of Arrowhead and in that environment. But yeah, I love the schedule, man. I love how it starts. I love being able to get Philly, get our revenge back from the Super Bowl in week 2 in our season opener. Arrowhead is gonna be rocking for that. So good luck to Jalen Hurts and them. But yeah, it's definitely
what's the play?
Hopefully it's gonna be a rough one for them. Excited to go on the road the next week though to play in MetLife. On is it Monday night or Sunday night? I think it's Sunday night.
Yeah. Sunday night football.
Sunday night.
Excited for that game too. It's always a great opportunity to go up to New York and play underneath the lights in the big city in the Big Apple. So excited for those games, man. The schedule is lit to me, man. I can't wait for them to get to this.
DG damn near picked every game. CJ, do you have one game that you
every game that DG want to go to? That's where I'm going now. I upgraded my season ticket this year, so out of all the years, I'm glad I did it this year. So it made me feel even better about my investment because, like DG said, all of our home games are lit. I don't think there's a bad home game on our schedule, honestly. Every game has a narrative, whether you're a football nerd like us or someone's like a casual fan. We all remember what Indianapolis has done to us in the regular season. So obviously that's going to be a fun game to go to. Out of the elite teams, the one I'm most excited to see is Detroit, like DG said. But the next one will probably be Washington. Anytime you get to see JD5 in person, that's a hot and up-and-coming team. We get them at home. So that's going to be a fun game. And we're coming off Vegas, and we know what happens every time we play them. So it's always good football. So the fact that we get Washington here, and that's on that's a Monday night game in the crib. JD5 versus Patrick Mahomes. That's gonna be a very fun football game. So the other one that I'm probably most excited to watch and not go to would probably be. I was gonna go to the Denver game on Christmas, but I'm like DJ. I probably want to more enjoy that moment with my family because how many times do you get to watch the Chiefs on Christmas and do it with your friends and family? So I'm gonna probably stay home for that one. So watch, and it's the Broncos, so we know it's gonna be good bump. It's gonna be good competition. Every time we play them, it's gonna be a tough physical football game. It's not gonna be a blowout either way. So those are probably the two games I would pick. I would say Washington and Denver, the two games I'm most excited to go to. I do plan on going to Dallas. Hopefully, if everything falls short, I don't need Dak Prescott getting hurt, so don't ruin my plans. Because I have family in Dallas too, like DG said. So I would love to go. Actually, the last time I went, please, because I went to the Tyreek Hill game when Alex Smith threw him that short pass before halftime and he ran it in. I was at that game with my family as well. So this probably the first time I'm going since then. So I'm super excited for that one. So definitely hope everything works out. But knowing the Cowboys, something's going to go wrong. So cross our fingers. But
yeah, that's understandable. I'll take a little bit of a different angle. I'm interested because of obviously the work that we've done during draft season. Obviously, there wasn't that chance that we would draft any of these three players, but that Giants game is going to be interesting because of Abdul Carter being added to the defensive line rotation, and obviously that's going to be a really good test for our offensive line. That's going to be newly retooled as well. I'm going to be interested to see how Jacksonville decides to use Travis Hunter, which now it's become a reality given the fact that they traded up in the draft as well. It's going to be fun to see how they try and deploy him and how we try and counter that. And then obviously we get to see Cam Ward later on in the season as well in that Tennessee game. So I think the fact that we're getting some highly touted prospects, obviously, in addition to our division deciding to add running backs in R.J. Harvey, Omarion Hampton, and Ashton Genty, it'll be fascinating to see from that standpoint too. So, so that's our little bit of the schedule. And again, we'll break down as far as the opponents are concerned. DG, CJ, you guys got anything before we get to the promo?
No, here.
All right.
Cheers,
Guys, we're into the conference finals of NBA. WNBA season has tipped off. Obviously, MLB is in full swing. Obviously, NHL playoffs are also going on. Please do make sure that you guys go over to Underdog, use code True3 or Kingdom Cast for a $100 deposit match. You guys can go over there, and they'll be able to help you out with that. We're putting out some Underdog plays in the Bet the House sportsbook as well that you guys can join up. Go over to CGZ81 and be able to get that link too. So yeah, be on the lookout for that, guys. But nothing else to say. We will be back next week, obviously talking about some more off-season content, guys. Looking forward to it. DG, CJ, anything before you head on out?
Nah, guys, be safe. Enjoy your families, man. Enjoy the off-season.
DG said Thunder in 6. That's what DG wanted to say.
He said
Thunder in 7. I got them in 7.
I got Thunder in 7.
I got to respect Ant and them, bro. I can't disrespect them. Like,
hey, look, I got Thunder in 7 and anybody but the bricks. That's the way I'm looking at the rest of these playoffs, brothers. Anybody but the bricks, okay? That's what I'm looking at. Anybody but the bricks, dog. I'm rooting for anybody but them. Yeah, so
bro, I don't want to.
I got Thunder in 7. Thunder in 7 for sure. That's what I got.
I hate Halliburton so much.
Bro, imagine if it's okay.
What do you hate Halliburton? Is he corny?
I don't know, bro. You just don't.
He don't sit right with you. That's what they just
said. He too zesty, bro. He don't rock with it.
Yeah, bro. I don't like it.
That's funny. I think the Pacers are good. In addition to my hate of the bricks, I actually do think the Pacers are a really good team.
I hope they let his dad go to the game. His dad funny as hell.
Yeah, they should lift this suspension. Your son.
His pops come to the game, man. Pay the fine too. Pay the fine, Reed. He be all right.
Just make sure he doesn't come in with any blankets.
Keep him in the suite. Tell him he can't come to the court. Just keep him in the suite.
Exactly. There you go. Your son played in the conference finals. But yeah, without further ado, we're gonna get out of here so DG can watch his Thunder in the conference finals. We appreciate you guys for coming by, man. Peace out. Go Chiefs.
Peace.